Advisory services offered through Blackridge Asset Management, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Blackridge Asset Management is a separate and independent entity from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC. And now, Today with Denny, here's Denny Artachi.
Good morning. Another beautiful day in South Florida. Man, I'm really loving this weather. Kind of changing a little bit. It's not 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit out there, and I'm not sweating. It's a beautiful thing. Of course, traffic is still, people are moving here because of the weather, right, Bobby? Not because we have the greatest governor.
I think season is starting earlier and earlier
It's
every
never
year.
left.
It didn't leave this year. It did not. Trying to get through Stewart was an
And you
anomaly.
live here.
I live here, US 1, all the way from Port St. Lucie down to West Palm. It is a disaster. People are not leaving Florida like they're supposed to in the summertime.
Oh, my goodness. You find the same thing, right, Evan? I mean,
Yeah.
you're in Port St. Lucie.
I'm on the
right?
west side of town. I'm at Becker at 95.
So how long does it take you to come here?
It takes me 15 minutes only because I'm at 4 o'clock in the
Exactly.
morning.
Yeah.
So I hit the turnpike, get off at the Stewart exit, go straight, follow it around, come to Canner Highway, make a left, go to US 1, make a left, and I'm here in 15 minutes.
Well, some of us have it that way, but he's here at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Big difference.
I have a great guest, Bobi Ryan, lovely and talented. She's been in radio herself for many years. Tell everybody your background in radio, Bobby. You
Oh, well, that's
Way
nice,
FM?
Denny. I didn't know we were going to talk about that, but that's awesome. Yes, I started in radio at Way FM. I was an intern there. I had gone to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes,
did.
remember that? I
What's
did
that
it.
guy's name? Dick
Dick
Robinson.
Dick,
Right.
Yeah.
yes. And he still has a great radio station
Wow.
down in North Palm, by the way. But so I got an internship as
Okay.
I was graduating to Way FM, and I was on at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And they hired me, and I stayed there for almost 10 years. And I was the advertising rep, but they called a development director there, and was on the air. Then I got out of radio for a little bit, and but I love it. It's kind of a hobby of mine, and now I have a studio in my house, and I actually
She hasn't
work
lost
for-
her voice, if you notice.
Oh, my
right?
God. She, as they say in radio, you have a great set of pipes. That's a radio terminology.
Oh,
She
Wait,
knows
Is
that
that what
well.
they say in radio?
Yes. Anytime a woman or a man is a voiceover artist,
Yes.
as she is what I do also,
Mhm.
you have a great setup. And she
Okay,
has got
good.
a
Nice
great set of
compliment.
pipes.
Thank you.
Seriously.
I know.
Yeah. I may
She's
ask you to do some things for my morning show.
I would be happy
Some
to.
sweepers.
I'm
He
so happy
hasn't
to be
asked
here
me
today.
to, but she's better looking. That's what it is.
Sorry,
right?
Denny.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Don't they say you have a face for radio? Is that the compliment they give you?
I think Randy said that. I'm not sure. No, he would never admit to that.
No. And you're speaking of Randy. People may not know. He is my significant other.
Yes.
And he was here.
He was
last
here.
week. Was it last week or the week
It was a couple
before?
of weeks. Now, he still claims no matter what happens, he'll be a better guest than you are. So here's your chance to upstage him.
Oh, wait, that's her better half?
yes, it is.
Oh, wow.
right.
Okay.
Captain Randy. That's
Yes, I remember him. He was a lot of fun.
right. He is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Randy's some. Now, his biggest claim to fame is he got a younger, more beautiful woman to chase after him and become his significant. That's
is that
what he.
the story? He
That's his
tells?
story.
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
He told me
It
and
wasn't
Diane
much
that-
of a chase at
It
his age.
wasn't.
You can't go that fast.
Exactly. So, but that's
Right
the
under
story.
the bus.
That's the story he tried to tell me and Diane on the golf course, and we were like, I can't say on the air what we said, but yes, he's trying to hold on to that story.
You got to let him believe it. You have to. Any good girlfriend would.
Well, so it's an interesting background that you have, but today I wanted to bring you on the show on a serious subject of senior living.
I saw the promo that you released on social media yesterday about
Okay.
the show. And thank you for doing that, by the way. But you gave it this preference of it's not a very sexy topic we're going to be talking about tomorrow morning.
Well,
I'm
it's
what's-
not.
what-
Is it sexy?
Well,
I mean,
and you know what? It may not be sexy, but it's incredibly exciting to me, I think, when
All
you
right.
have a paradigm shift in your mind about what those later chapters in life can look like. And that's what senior living is really all about, changing the way we view being 70, 80, 90 years old, that life can still have purpose. It can have meaning. It can be fulfilling. It's not just sitting at home and waiting until the end.
Exactly. And look, I love that you're correcting me because folks, if you'd like to call in and ask about this,
Oh,
the number here is
please.
772-220-WSTU. You may have questions because the first thing is people, the old adage was like, well, I'm not going to a nursing home. And that's how it was maybe 30 years ago. But I've performed in these communities. I sing Sinatra music to them. And let me tell you, they are pretty active in there. They have a life, which absolutely it's better than sitting at home watching television,
Oh, it's
waiting
so
for the
true.
end to happen.
I can't tell you how many times I hear people say, well, I promised mom I would never put her away.
Right.
And put away. That's what I mean. That's what we talk about when we think of the nursing homes of 1950, where people were put in a wheelchair and wheeled to the nurse's station where they sat all day until they ate their food off of a cafeteria tray.
Ugh.
And that is not what senior living is at all to this point. There has been so many studies, so much research done about how we can live amazing lives and have purpose and have excitement and have new friendships well into our 80s and 90s. And an amazing statistic is that, and this is, I think, probably the most important thing that I can ever say, is that the earlier people move into senior living, the less likely they will ever need skilled nursing.
And that's important because they have so many activities. They have something to look forward to. They have friends with them. They're not alone. Do we have a first caller here?
Yes, it's actually the president of your fan club.
Is this Palm City Charlie?
Hello, it is.
I could imagine Palm City Charlie in one of these facilities. He'd be the guy singing and dancing with every girl.
No, he'd be getting everybody into shape.
Yeah, he would.
What I wanted to say is that I appreciate what you're talking about this morning. When my mom went into a nursing home, that was 2001. It was $60,000 a year. And that was a shared room. And then my mother decided the lady wasn't paying any rent, and Dad had to put her in a single room. But I purchased long-term care policy for me and my wife because, and it's right now I think it's like $90,000 a year I'm covered for
Wow.
6 years. And if my wife dies, it's paid up. If I die, it's paid up. It's expensive, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper than paying $90,000 a year. You can wipe yourself out very quickly.
Well, it's an important, as a financial planner, I always discuss this with clients because it's true. We're living longer, and you may think, your kids may love you all they want, but they're not going to change your diapers or take care of you, and they're not going to do the thing about it that Bobby's going to talk about, and it's true. I've seen it. There are so many activities planned. You don't walk in there and people are just staring at the wall with nothing to do. That's the old stipulation that people used to think at these places were like.
That's true.
I know, Denny, but I like to be alone, and you know that. But anyway, I love you. You're a great guy. So where are you going to be at 7:00? Friday or Saturday? I'm going to have my wife look up your DennyArtachi.com, right?
No, DennyArtachiBand.com.
DennyArtachi
love you too, Charlie. I will be at Mulligan's this Saturday from 6 to 9.
Perfect.
So I'll see you there,
Charlie.
And I'll be there early.
You are
and
the
I'll
man.
listen to your show, and I'm taking a bunch of people to a restaurant, a blind friend of mine.
Oh, really?
A bunch of people were meeting today. Yeah, this fellow is blind. He's had strokes. He's my young friend. I met him through his father, who's a Korean vet, Marine, and hates everybody. He hated Puerto Ricans. I'm half Puerto Rican. He thought I was Italian, and it
Oh, my
turns out I
goodness.
am, with a little bit of Nigerian in me.
Oh my goodness.
Like I've always said, if there's reparations, I'm raising my hand,
Charlie's
which
a
I think is
character. That's right.
insane.
We had him on the show, and he's a decorated Vietnam veteran.
Oh, thank you
and,
for your service.
He's
Well, thank you for being there. I'm going to turn off my phone and listen to you on the radio.
Sounds good. Thank you, Charlie. And thank
Charlie.
you for the great points you brought up.
And we're going to take our first break here and come back with Bobi Ryan, ladies and gentlemen, on Today with Denny. Hey, we are back on Today with Denny. Listeners, if you have any questions, by all means, call in. The number here is 772-220-WSTU. I'm getting educated on this all the time. So it's a serious subject. We're all living longer. We're taking care of our families. We have to take care of ourselves. So, Bobi, talk about the different levels, because I think a lot of people think, well, I can't afford it, or we don't know how to go about it. So what are the different levels of these facilities?
That is such a great topic. And I think a lot of people don't know about it. And for those who don't know me, I have the distinct privilege of being the executive director of Watercrest Senior Living in Port St. Lucie, Florida. We are an assisted living and memory care, and people don't realize that that is not skilled nursing. We have to understand that there's many different levels to senior living. Independent living being the kind of entry level, I would say. So what that basically means is you're living in it's normally like a 65 plus community.
Okay.
They provide your meals for you. They normally will pay the electric bill. They provide transportation for you, but they don't provide anything medically for you. You're managing your own meds. They are not responsible for your medical care in any way, shape, or form. However, you are getting good, healthy meals every day. You do have access to things like physical therapy and occupational therapy. And there's people there that will have eyes on you every day. So you may not need somebody to help you shower or get groomed or help you with your med management. But a lot of people, what they find is the least expensive thing to do is to move into an independent living apartment and then pay for private duty care to come in when life becomes a little bit more challenging and they do need help with things like showers or getting ready for bed. That is probably the most economical thing that people can do if they have the health and the wherewithal to be able to do that.
So I guess the difference is they know that they're not alone in some house, that if something happens, there's no one there to look at them. So they would do the entry level. And what's the average cost of the entry level if they're going to do that?
It really depends what market you're in and what area.
How about South Florida? And I know that's a broad question, because if you're in Boca Raton, or as opposed to,
it's true.
Northern Florida.
There are places that I would say that will start out independent living, $2,000, $2,200 a month.
Okay.
And when you think about, you've probably given up your car at that point. You're not paying your car insurance. You're not paying for your utilities other than maybe a cell phone, your cables included. That's very economical for people to live.
They're providing the meals
and a full entertainment schedule and an activity schedule as well. So you have exercise classes every day. You have mental stimulation every day. You have opportunities to learn new things, whether it be art classes or language classes or anything to keep stimulating the brain.
So again, there's so many activities they can participate in. And so, all right, so the entry level would, but long-term care insurance would not cover that.
Normally, no. It depends how the policy is written. Every policy is written different. Some policies are actually written that you have to live in independent living and they will only pay for the caregivers to come in. There are policies that state that. Then there are other policies that will not cover anything if you're in independent living.
Read the fine print.
It's true. You really have to know those.
Sold me this policy. He said, forget about it. It's got everything you want. And then you try and use it. Okay, so that's the entry level. So then what's the next level from there?
For somebody, when life becomes maybe a little bit more challenging, they're having a hard time maybe because of arthritis or they've had a fall and they have a fear of falling. They have balance issues and they really need somebody to help them maybe get in and out of bed or somebody to manage their medicines for them because they're taking 20 different pills a day. Then we're looking at assisted living. Assisted living still provides you with a huge amount of independence. Not like the days of yesteryear where we think of people being locked up. No, you come and go as you please. It's not a prison.
Like
it is
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right? With the famous nurse.
I feel like that is people's mental image of what senior living is. And assisted living is not. Assisted living just means that, you've reached a point in your physical health where you need a little bit more help with daily activities.
So the next level, is it easier for long-term care to cover that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That is where long-term care
and so then
almost always pops in.
So then what would, if the first one starts at 2,200, that one would probably be around 3,000 or 3,500?
Yeah, you're actually pretty much right on right there. And then most assisted livings, now every company is going to be different, but most assisted livings do a care fee on top of that based on what you need. So it's not an all-inclusive price. If you need to, maybe you don't really need anything, then you're going to be at a different level than somebody who has a hard time getting from point A to point B, that may be in a wheelchair and has to rely on the staff to take them places. So most companies will provide an a la carte care schedule and care fee for you.
The other level is what most people fear, but as you said, with your experience, not many really go into that next level where they need 24-hour care, right? That's the most expensive. That's where it can really be $5,000-6,000 a month, because now you have.
Oh, if you're looking at skilled nursing, if you're in a private pay facility, which of course is going to be the nicest facilities, I believe they're running about $220 a day for skilled nursing.
Yeah. So you better have good long-term care insurance to cover that as well. But look, there's the 3 levels, as you say. I think what's interesting is more people fall into that category. So if you don't have long-term care insurance, what if you don't have assets? I mean, does Medicaid cover any of this stuff?
That's a great question. Medicaid covers certain facilities. So there are places
to a certain point,
to a certain point. There are certain places that only take Medicaid and they take your Social Security. And that's it. And they're operating on a shoestring budget.
Got it.
Because they don't have that much revenue coming in. So you can understand what the care is going to be like, what the dining options are going to be like in a place that's just operating on Medicaid. What I can say, if you're looking at senior living and you're worried about money running out, a good option is to find a private pay community, say an assisted living. I'm not talking about skilled nursing, a assisted living that has some Medicaid beds, but they are basically private pay.
Gotcha.
What they keep those Medicaid beds for are for people who run out of money, and then they can transition them into those 4 or 5 apartments that they have that are just for Medicaid. You're going to have a much better quality of life.
I don't know if it's how popular this is, but I heard of a few communities where they sold their houses, or they took the equities of their houses to pay for the where they're living, and then when they pass on, they get to keep their house. I mean, is that? Oh, do we have another caller here? Okay.
Excellent.
Yes. Is this Diane?
Yes.
Hi, Diane. You're on Today with Denny. What's on your mind?
We would like to ask Bobi about her upcoming event, the Veterans Day, November 11th, and aid in attendance, how veterans can move into an assisted living.
Well, thank you, Diane. What a great topic. It's so nice to hear from you today. We do at Watercrest have an amazing group of veterans, and we love to honor our vets. And Watercrest is very patriotic as a company. And on November 11th, we're going to be having a beautiful ceremony. Randy will be performing there. Officers and gentlemen will be providing music. The Port St. Lucie Sheriff's Office will be our color guard. Some Marines will be there giving the honorary folding of the flag. It's an amazing ceremony. We'll be doing a pinning for the veterans. And we invite anybody from the community to come. I mean, if you want to love on our vets, and we do have vets from World War II, the greatest generation.
Bobi, on November 11th?
On November 11th, yeah. It's going to be at 1:00. Just give us a call at Watercrest, and we would love to put you on the invite list and give you an opportunity to love on our residents a little bit. And And Diane brings up a good point too, is that for veterans, there is aid in attendance. And that's something that, when you're dealing with the VA and the Veterans Association, there's always a lot of paperwork and some red tape to go through. But there are people there that can help you do that. And they do provide assistance to veterans, especially wartime veterans, up to $1,600, $1,800, $1,900 a month.
Is this the
help.
Diane who called in?
This is your golfing partner. Yes.
Man, let me tell you, she was hitting that ball like Diane. I don't know what got into you that day, but she was hitting some heck of drives, and she sunk a long birdie putt on the last hole.
Wow. If I knew anything about golf, I would be really impressed right now.
She was great. We for those listening, we played a tournament to help homeless veterans. I'm a veteran, a proud veteran. And it's so sad that so many are homeless out there. They put their lives on the line. They defended our country, but they're sleeping, in dumpsters behind restaurants because they have nowhere to go. So it was great. And Diane, she was a ringer. I
was glad I was able to
she'll
introduce
never
the two
admit
of
that. Are you still on the phone, Diane?
Yes, I am. Well said, Denny, and thank you for your service. It was a great tournament.
See, look at her.
Diane is
say no to her.
I
Right?
know she's very humble and charismatic at the same time. She has a lot of great attributes. But
So
thank you
November
much.
11th, folks, that sounds great. I will be in town because it is a Thursday. So I'm going to have to show up and maybe, help Randy sing or something.
Please do. You can help him with the fight
Not
songs,
that he needs any help,
the national anthem. Absolutely. We would love
Oh,
that.
Denny sings a good Frank Sinatra too.
Yes,
That's right.
he
I did
does.
give her a CD.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
I'm glad she likes it.
All right, I have to get back to work. Thank you for your service, Denny.
Thanks
Thank you for your service, Diane.
All right. So interestingly enough, yeah, that's great that you're doing that, and we were talking about how to finance these things. And like I said, I've heard a couple of communities that I don't know how they did it. It was almost like a reverse mortgage. They would, if some of these people had properties that they owned free and clear, they would either use that equity. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Not in Florida.
Not in Florida?
Not in
Okay.
Florida. In Pennsylvania, when my mother was aging, there were programs set up through the state for things like that, but I have not seen that here. Now, I may be wrong, but
The private pay, when you say the private pay, there's no discount if they're going to do that route, is there? Or?
No.
Okay,
No.
so I guess what it is, it makes sense if a senior has assets, they can just pay down those assets to pay for it, along with the long-term care.
Absolutely. And so let me make it clear again. The objective is to never have to go to a skilled nursing situation.
Right.
The earlier that people choose to move in to senior living, the healthier they're going to live. The biggest mistake that people make is saying, well, the best thing for mom is for her to stay at home.
Yeah,
No,
alone.
No, it's not. And I see so many people that do this where they put the granny cams all over the house.
Oh my God.
So here's poor mom. She's 80 years old and she's being televised in every room of her house. So you can keep an eye on her, and she's by herself watching TV and probably not eating very well unless, you're running meals to her every day. And that's not a way to live. The later chapters of our life need to be as full as all the other chapters. Sure, we may slow down a little bit, but it's not over. And the earlier you can move somebody into assisted living or independent living, the less money it's going to actually cost in the long run. And we are in South Florida where a lot of people have the assets to do that, or their houses are paid off. You sell the house, you have $500,000
right
easily here in South Florida that can pay for that retirement.
Well, I talk about it with my mom. I mean, I love her very much. She's very independent. She's still very active. She used to teach aerobics. She's 81 years old. She does her own cooking. I'm going to see her later after the show. And, we talk about it, and I certainly don't want her to be alone or have an issue. So, but ultimately, she's pretty strong minded, and I'm following her lead. So,
Oh, okay. You sound like most of the people that I talk to that first walk in the door and say, "I'm just here to look around. Mom's not ready. It's going to be many years from now, many years."
Well, Mom, listen, she does go to these facilities because she has friends there, and
That's good.
she teaches aerobics still with them, and she has fun with them. She's come to a few that I've performed here
Does
in
she
Port
live
St.
close
Lucie.
here?
Yes, she is in Port St. Lucie. Yes.
She can come and teach aerobics at my facility.
Did you hear that, Mom? I'm gonna have to tell her about that.
Yes, I would
Okay.
love that.
All right. Well, I'm gonna ask her about it later on. I think we're gonna take our next overdue. Back with the great Bobi Ryan, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we are back on Today with Denny with Bobi Ryan. You know what's so interesting and funny, and I've poked fun at it. It's true. Life can start beginning in your 70s and 80s because some of these communities, how can I say this nicely in this family station? Let's just say that their dating life is pretty active in some of these communities.
Absolutely.
And being that the women outlive the guys, some of the guys are like, whoa, I am Hugh Hefner of this community here.
I'm a stud. Look at me.
Exactly. I
took me 80 years to be a stud, but I've made it.
Thank you, modern medicine and blue pills. And these guys are like, it's so hilarious. And the reason I know this, because I've performed in communities in Boca. And at one time I was in the circuit, and they were telling me how they're such in demand. So guys, if you're thinking,
it's true. And, and it is funny. And there are, of course, those stories, which I won't be sharing those today.
Correct.
But the thing is that no matter what age we are, we never lose the desire to be known and to be loved.
That's true.
And I think it's beautiful. And I've seen it so many times when people find love at 80 years old. They've already lost their spouses. And I don't mean that in any kind of dirty way. I mean, to see people at 85 years old holding hands and walking around the pond. That's a beautiful thing, to be able to be that age and feel like you've never going to love somebody like you loved your spouse ever again. And you may not, but to have somebody awaken those feelings at that chapter of your life, that's pretty beautiful.
It gives you a reason to live, doesn't it? I mean, there's only so much TV you can watch, folks. And I mean, I limit my TV watching now. I can't imagine being in my 80s glued to the TV, especially with all the, can I say crap on the air? I just did. Although
that's not one of the 7 deadly words. I think it's okay.
Especially with all the crap that's on TV. So, yeah, it is great to see. Of course it is. And, my mom says she could never love another guy, like my father. He's been gone since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Mom, it's not like you have to marry someone or do all those things you did with Bob, but be sociable and go out and do things. But she says, no, the guys aren't like that. They want it all. So she's kind of like, I said, what? Really? Most of them can't even do it all. So don't worry about it, Mom.
Oh, what direction are we heading now? Oh, but you know what? I'm glad you're having those conversations with your mom. That's really important as adult children to have those open lines of communication. And when you're talking about making the move of selling the house and moving to senior living, like I said, it's better to have those conversations early rather than later. Once you wait till mom falls or mom has a stroke or something has happened, that's going to be a much more difficult conversation because then mom has no choice. That's when we get into the place where mom is being put somewhere.
Maybe she feels like she's being punished because, she's not as healthy as she once was. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ultimately, I would never put her in a situation that I didn't think was beneficial for her.
Of course.
And she knows that. I would never, all right, I'm just going to throw you in there and forget about it. It's not going to happen. But that's good to know. And I think you're right. The earlier you start, because your whole point is, if you start to have it early, you'll remain healthier longer, right?
When you have that, yes. And when you have that conversation, maybe a couple of years in advance of like, Mom, at some point we're going to have to sell the house, look at downsizing and go to a community. a community where you can have a full life and people can help you if you need it.
Right.
And, plant that seed early on. Look at places, because it's really important for mental health for mom or dad to feel like they have a choice. Because as we get older, our choices get so much smaller. You and I make hundreds of choices every day.
Yes.
When we're 80,
some of them better than others.
yes. But you look at it, once you've stopped working, maybe your spouse is gone, what am I going to watch on TV? That might be the
Are your
biggest
parents
choice.
still around, Bob?
No, I've lost both. My dad died very young at 59 with a heart aneurysm. And my mother,
Wow.
she had Alzheimer's. And there was really nothing else wrong with her. She just lost her mind. And so I speak from experience, because even though I've been in this industry a very long time, I had two sisters that didn't understand and said, the best thing for mom is for her to be at home.
Right.
Even though I could have moved her in where I was working and had eyes on her every day. And I wasn't able to win the battle with my sisters. And
well, sometimes the best testimonials are the truthful, painful ones. They're not based on fantasy or what you think the reality is. So that's a powerful statement. You can look people in the eye and say, I personally experienced what you're thinking about you're going through, and it's not what you think. Again, I think most people would like the concept, but it's a question of planning and financing it. That's really it. And you're right. If they own the properties, I tell my mom, you don't have to leave me a dollar, Mom. Everything you have, we're going to use for you in one way or another. Don't you're not on this earth to give me all your belongings. I know she thinks differently, but I think the important thing is to plan for it. And if you haven't done it already, you're right. If you have a house free and clear and you have, $200,000-$300,000 in assets, that's 10
several years. Yeah, exactly.
And
And that's where you come in, because you do financial planning for people who are looking at their retirement years all the time. And
you know what I wish they would do? You know how they do it in college prepay, that you get it at a discount?
Yes.
They should do that with these communities. Seriously. Yeah. Because I think it would work. And somehow the insurance companies will figure out how to make money. Because that's what they're doing anyway. But somebody should figure out how to do a prepay senior living. And I don't know. Maybe you and I can be the pioneers in that, Bobby. But it's true. If they have the assets, if you're going to the entry level one that's $2,200 a month, let's just say hypothetically $25,000 a year, which again, if you just sold property worth $300,000, you have other assets, that buys you some time in these facilities.
And you just made me think of something too when you're talking about prepaid. There are several communities that, and in all over the United States, but they kind of do a prepay.
They do.
So you come in at independent living level, and they promise you that you're never going to be charged more other than your annual rate increase, which will be a couple % a year, no matter what level of care you need. However, sometimes you're paying $50,000, $150,000 to move in, and they take that money.
You mean a lump sum?
A lump sum. So I really advise against a community like that, because who knows, once you live there for 2 or 3 years, you may go like, they got a new manager here.
Yeah, you might hate
I don't like this.
Yeah.
Or look at the people that moved in next to me.
You just gave them a whole bunch of money. Yeah.
And now I'm here for the rest of my life, and I've given them my life savings. Most senior livings, like Watercrest, we have a 30-day out. You don't like it, you give a 30-day notice. It's not even an annual lease, so you're not locked in. But some people,
that's really great. That's good. The way I look at it is, if your facility is that good, then you should have a clause like that. People should want to stay there because it's professional, it's friendly, and enjoyable. These people that lock you in, whenever, I don't care. I just went through this with this company because I have different marketing things, and supposedly they were going to do a dialing service for me. It never worked. It was so complicated. To get out of the contract was like getting Congress and the Senate to agree on a bill. It was crazy. And if your stuff is so good, why do you have to lock people in like that?
Exactly.
Yeah, we
I
know
want
the
people
answer.
to choose to be there, not
Right.
be forced to be there.
Exactly. And that is a test. I mean, that is very impressive that you have that clause in there,
Mhm.
because you want people to be happy. It's not just about the money. And I know you have a passion for this. This
I
is
do.
not just about dollars and cents to you.
I do. And, if you are looking for employment, and I tell you, and not just because I am hiring like everybody else in the world, but
Are people still looking for jobs? I thought they gave that up with all the entitlements.
I believe they did give that up. Yes, actually, yes. I don't believe any, but if by chance, like you said, my background was in radio. I have a very diverse background, and I stumbled into a senior living job. I started as a program director, and I found my purpose. I found a calling, and found that there is nothing more amazing than giving somebody their life back at a point where they thought that maybe it was over, and to introduce them to a new chapter that they didn't think was possible, and to watch their kids be able to have a relationship with them, and now they're just mom. They don't have to be the caregiver anymore, and to really enjoy those years of life. So I encourage you. I mean, if you're a lover of people and you're looking for a purpose, man, senior living is one of the most amazing things, and every day is definitely different.
Evan, what's so obvious about this lady right here? She loves God and believes in Christ. It's just, that's where it all starts. And I don't want to get emotional right now, but it's so obvious that that's where it all started for you. And I think we're going to take a break on that and come back on Today with Denny with Bobi Ryan. All right, we are back on Today with Denny. This subject is important, and yes, I made a joke that it wasn't sexy and all, but in life, you have to enjoy life every day, because we don't know when God will call upon us, and you should plan on these things. And Evan, during the break, I cannot believe what you said to me, that you're doing this function. So cremations now start at $7,500.
Minimum $7,500. They said that the trend right now, more people are leaning towards cremations because of
but that's because it used to be $1,200 to $2,000.
A full burial now is close to $20K.
Oh, wow.
Close to $20K. And one of the cemeteries they use is where you mentioned.
Yes, Rolling Oaks, where I'm going to be.
That's one of the places they work with.
Well, you know what it was is I lost my dear brother at a young age, and it was like 2005. So, mom, dad, and me, we looked at each other, because they get you. It's not like you're going to shop. Well, I'm going to take the next 2 weeks and get me the best price casket I can. They know they have you. So we took care of it. And let me tell you, good thing we did, because the price has more than doubled since then.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My father prepaid his,
Mm-hmm.
and back then they didn't have computers. When he prepaid his, it was paperwork.
And they didn't have the...
They couldn't find the paperwork, and they wanted to charge me full tilt.
Right.
I had the paperwork in my dad's what's called tin can, where he stored everything. He said, when I go, you go to the tin can and everything will be there. He was in the military.
Yeah.
And sure enough, there was the paperwork. I think he prepaid like $6-7 grand for everything. And I produced it to them, and they were dumbfounded. They had to honor it.
So I think what the lesson is here that you both just really touched on is planning.
Exactly,
planning for everything in life, and getting those paperwork things in order. A really important thing to do is to have a power of attorney set up.
Yes.
And to have a health proxy set up, because God forbid anything happens.
I have power of attorney for my mom, and we both have DNRs.
And that's perfect. And you know what? And even though she may not need you to be her power of attorney right now, when it comes time that maybe she's not making wise choices as she was, or she's not able to make to live the same life that she is right now, I'll say, then you already have that paperwork there, and you can step in, and it's so much easier than people who wait longer.
It's just so hard, because let me tell you, when we did the power of attorney and I met her attorney, he said, I can see that you really love your mom, and that this is a good move, because he has seen kids come in, and he knows that, oh yeah, they can't wait till, they slip into not knowing who they are so they can take all their assets. And I just, call me old school, but I could never, ever, ever take advantage of my parents. And I see and hear about it all the time. And I just don't.
And if you're in a situation like that where you feel like you're not sure if you can trust one of your kids,
exactly right.
I mean, a lot of
it's
people
a scary
do
thought.
make dual power of attorneys.
They do,
so that both kids or both family members would have to sign off on it.
Yeah.
And you don't actually need an attorney to grant power of attorney. That can get very expensive. Honestly, it can be done with a notary. You can get the papers offline and just go to a notary and get it
he
done.
didn't really charge.
But for other people, they think they have to get that power of attorney through an attorney, and it can become very costly. And that's a great way to save money, is that truly it can be done, with the internet and a notary.
Yeah. Well, certainly I'd like to perform in your community. I think
I can't wait.
I think definitely on the 11th, I have to be there and check that out. But let's do an official singing. And come in and do the classic music. I'd love to do that. Again, it's because they appreciate that music is timeless. It really is.
Actually, that just makes me think of something too, is that because my community is actually really kind of younger.
Oh, good.
I have people that, really like Leonard Skinnerd that are listening to,
really?
And
I wouldn't, I mean,
the Rat Pack is not necessarily that popular.
I can sneak in. Oh, it's not? Okay.
No.
What about Billy Joel, Elton John?
Billy Joel, they love. Elvis is always a legend.
Elvis is
good.
But
this is important when you're looking at a community to move into, at the other residents that live there. Who can you connect with there? And, look at their social calendar and see what's on there. If you see the only thing on their social calendar is bridge and movie night, that means they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything.
So what kind of activities do you have in your place?
So we have everything from chair yoga to swimming aerobics.
Okay.
We have, the fun small group activities like
date night?
Trivia,
Speed
dating.
Karaoke
We do
night?
karaoke.
Wow.
We do karaoke. We have, we have theme parties every month. We have a lot of parties. We have a full liquor license.
Oh boy.
And have happy hour every day. It's a great social setting.
Well, they don't have to worry about driving home if they've had too much to drink.
That's right. Exactly. Oh, when I get to be that age, I'm going to be pleasantly tipsy every day.
I'm telling you.
What's the name of her place again?
It's Watercrest Senior Living in Port St. Lucie.
Party at Watercrest.
That's
Senior
right.
Living.
Yes.
In Port St. Lucie.
In Port St. Lucie.
Where is it?
It's right off California Boulevard, near
it's out
Walmart.
west.
And it's actually strategically located to be right next to a huge shopping plaza. So if people want to, they can just walk across the street and go to Walmart or Bell's or Ross or, whatever. So they strategically put the building right there.
Some of those communities, if they don't have enough security, they kind of wander off. And I know it happened. I think in Jupiter, there's a community by the Altons, because I live close to Abacoa, where they kind of like we're wandering for a few hours. That's never happened in any of your facilities, have it?
It has not, but that's not unusual. It's called an elopement. Right? And that is just when somebody
they're eloping.
It's not when they run off and get married. No, it's when somebody leaves the community without signing out. Like I said, you can go wherever you want. You could just have to sign out and let us know.
Wait, do they have to sign out?
You do have to sign out because what if we have a med pass and we don't know where that person is? We are legally responsible to know where they are. So they do just have to sign out.
So you might get some people that go, I ain't signing nothing. I'm just going and doing what I want to do.
Yeah, you do. You do have those people. But that's where what you had talked about, where memory care may come out.
Yeah.
When somebody becomes somewhat of a danger to their own safety because of their mental faculties.
I know a lot of people like that, and they're not in senior communities. They're at bars watching me play. Some family too, right?
But memory care is it's a secure community, meaning that it is locked and it's meant for people who may wander, but again has a full, actually even more activities, a lot of mental, physical stimulation, a lot of tactile sense things. So memory care is a whole different situation, but that is available for people who need that.
I think the main reason that facilities like yours are successful is the government does not run them. They are privately owned, and they're well managed by people like yourself. Because a lot of people think, oh, why doesn't the government just help us out? I go, yeah, have you seen how they manage money and everything else? Not going to happen. So I guess the only closest thing would be those facilities that are Medicaid only. But my God, I would not want to walk in there and see the quality of life.
Absolutely.
Because
That's
we're
what private pay is
talking
about. Yep.
we're talking very little money that they're getting. Now, it's interesting that if they're making enough and they can just take their Social Security check for
Mhm.
payment along with assets. So, folks, there are creative ways to do this. And it really just depends on where you are. Because, again, a facility in Port St. Lucie or northern Florida is certainly going to be less expensive than Boca Raton or Miami or some of these other communities where just the cost of living is a lot higher. And so it mirrors it.
And Denny, these are really big decisions. And I think it's really important to say that these are decisions that people have a lot of questions about. And it can be very confusing.
Sure.
And that's what people like you and I are here for. Whether somebody chooses my community or not, I want them to be happy. And I'm happy to help them find those solutions, to answer those questions, as you are as well. You can
Yes.
help somebody find the financial resources to care for their loved ones in their retirement years. And that's what we're here to do.
It's hard because, it can be emotional for many people, and it shouldn't have to be because, I could see if it was emotional, if it was the old facilities, like you say, where people are being thrown into a room in a chair to die. But that's not what's going on. I've seen these communities, and they're vibrant. They've
Mhm.
got a lot of activities. People have a purpose to live. And so if they didn't have that, they probably would have passed away a long time ago.
Absolutely.
I really believe that in life you have to be active. If you go to that stay still lifestyle, you're not going to make it. And that's true not just when you're old. There's a lot of people that I see that are a lot younger than I that they just don't have an active lifestyle. And it does take its toll on your body and your brain. So I applaud you for that. And we're going to do some things together. Now, Randy, I don't know. I think she might have been a better guest than you, but I can't say that because he's so competitive. You know that, right?
No, by far.
He still
was
hates
much more entertaining than I was, I'm sure.
Okay, well, that's a good girl, Randy. I think you should keep her, even though I think it was you who chased her officially. But we'll have to both get you on the air to see who wins that argument. Until then, folks, I hope that you got something out of this. I hope you make the best of your day. Be careful, be safe, have fun, enjoy that life, and we'll see you next week on Today with Denny.
The preceding was a paid program. The content is provided by the advertiser. WSTU, its staff, management, and owners are not responsible for the content. Advisory services offered through Blackridge Asset Management, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Blackridge Asset Management is a separate and independent entity from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC.